There is nothing deep down inside us except what we put there ourselves.
It's cryptocurrencies. I haven't heard Bank of America talk a lot about what they may or may not do in cryptos, but now that I have you here, I'm asking you.
Well, so the reality is that we run a payments business across our platform that moves trillions of dollars a day, and almost all of it's digital. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, it's in the customers we know, and we've done the KYC and AML, sent it out. So if you think about the blockchain, we have hundreds of patents on blockchain. As a process and as a tool and as a technology. If you think about the question of digital movement of money, 60% of our consumer already moves digitally. Zelle payments, we have 54 million digital users. None of this is new stuff.
I'm one of them.
Yeah. But if you think about the question of, what was the issues, cryptocurrency things trying to solve, cross-border movement things, those are real issues, and the industry's moving faster to move them. The reality is that we can't do it. By regulation, we're not really allowed to engage. So in the trading side, we could do it, our research team writes on it, but we're not engaging in accounts for people in cryptocurrency and stuff. We're not allowed to, frankly, and because we're a regulated entity, they've said you can't. They've said you have to ask us before you do it, and by the way, don't ask, is basically the tone.
Brian Moynihan, the CEO of Bank of America, sees the use case of XRP with moving money across borders. Bank of America is partnered with Ripple. They move trillions in payments. The regulators told him you must ask before you do. By the way, don't ask us. But he certainly seems ready when he can.
Like I said earlier, I think if you have a bifurcation of the monetary system as a whole, you'd have to represent local currencies, especially local trading partner acceptable currencies. The renminbi being what it is and being a good chunk of the GDP of Asia, it's a natural. The renminbi has been toyed around with on the blockchain, hasn't been very successful. But I think as China understands that its own currency, which is a little bit of a free fall right now, needs to be stabilized, it might bring in other assets. And they've been buying gold at a scale that is unprecedented. And if you shore up your treasuries or your renminbi with gold, there may be some sort of stability play there. But ultimately, it will run off the blockchain. There's no question about it. Paper money is going to go away. And systems like SWIFT will likely get hacked in an adversarial, asymmetric war game scenario, likely. And so you're going to have to back into blockchain. And you're going to have to back into it in a way that not only provides the stability of the distribution and the liquidity of the asset, but also in the actual backing of it. Right. So I think there's a lot of room for play there, and I think the United States is rightfully concerned. It's done a couple of things that kind of push the other side into creating this adversarial environment, but it's a Game of Thrones right now.
A bifurcation, or in other words, a divide in the monetary system. China has been accumulating gold as insurance. If the RMB falls, it can be stabilized with gold. SWIFT is a target due to its antiquated technology. The solution to a hack will be blockchain technology. A Game of Thrones is a dangerous game where each player is looking to be king and sit on the throne.
It's unclear whether crypto is really going to take off or the government's going to do something. What is your own view on crypto?
It's here to stay. I think it's gone mainstream. Fidelity just announced you can put it in your 401k. The one caveat I would say is, first of all, climate impact is going to become increasingly in focus. So in that context, I think Ethereum is likely to gain some more traction over Bitcoin. The other thing I would say is that when we look at companies in the kind of blockchain crypto space, it might be a security audit company. They all have massive treasury accounts with a lot of coins in them. And to me, that creates a little bit of near-term vulnerability. But that said, I think blockchain technology is going to have some great applications, and crypto's here to stay.
Dawn Fitzpatrick, head of the George Soros Fund, says crypto isn't going away. She has concerns about proof of work, and today the Biden admin is preparing a policy to reduce Bitcoin's energy consumption. Coins with a large treasury like Ripple has with XRP is at high risk for the shorter term. It sounded like a warning about the SEC. We know the Soros Fund has invested in polysign.
At 37% discount now, which is obviously a crazy way to treat retail investors. So the only risk really is the U.S. SEC, and hopefully within the next year or two that gets resolved. There's actually a court case, a company we're invested in called Ripple is in a suit with the SEC, and so a judge will rule on whether Ripple is a security or not within the next 6 months.
Fund managers like Don Fitzpatrick are risk averse. Ripple will have clarity in the next 6 months, and when they do, institutions will be able to invest. Investing in platforms like polysign is indicative of what's to come.
Ripple has been at this for 10 years now. It's hard to believe. We're going to celebrate our 10th year anniversary in October.
Wow.
And so one of the OGs in the crypto space. But we soon after the company was founded, and of course the XRP ledger was started, we went on a journey to build a use case for Ripple and spent a lot of years building RippleNets, which was and still is a fiat-based network across some 55 countries, 6 continents. But importantly, the vision was always, what could we do with that network once built and put digital assets and cryptocurrency on the network? And that has happened extremely quickly over the last year as our on-demand liquidity product has really lit up those rails. And now there are 25 different countries where ODL is available. A huge percentage of our volume now is in ODL. And so while we still have fiats in certain parts of the network, and it's important, especially with some crypto cold markets, we're very quickly adopting on that front.
It has happened extremely quickly over the last year. ODL has lit up rails. There are 25 countries and a huge percentage of volume running through XRP. As more volume runs through the XRP ledger, the more zaps get built on top of the XRP ledger, and this attracts new projects and developers. It is a network that is expanding. The more it expands, the more network effects it will have.
We think that focusing on actually understanding the content, what's happening here, and viewing this as a major technology shift rather than a short-term financial asset is a critical part of the story. Frankly, the space has become too big to ignore. And so regardless of what people might be thinking about in the short term, it's continuing to build momentum and bring in an incredible amount of talent. We think, when we've seen this across the broader technology sector, not just within Web3, where the best talent goes ends up being the most important part of the market. And so that's very much what we're seeing in Web3. It's attracting all kinds of builders, engineers, marketers, designers to the space. And that's really what we invest in.
Andreessen and Horowitz looks for where talent is headed, and the companies that have the most talent, that is where they invest. Ripple has 731 employees with 167 job openings. Brooke Entwistle came from Goldman Sachs. Rosie Rios came from the U.S. Treasury. Zoe Cruz came from Morgan Stanley. James Wallace came from the IBM. Sandy O'Connor came from J.P. Morgan.
And what we've seen is that while the prices can seem erratic, there is actually very much a method to the madness. So what happens is that while prices are often lagging indicators in other sectors, in crypto, they're often leading indicators. So what we see is that when there's a price appreciation, that means that new entrepreneurs, new builders, new capital flows into the space. Now, some of that is there for short-term speculative reasons, but a lot of it is not. And so what happens is a lot of those builders will continue to build regardless of sort of price activity in the short term. And that's what sets us up for the next boom and the next platform on which all of these applications are actually being built.
XRP was suppressed this bull run. The markets are forward-looking. Projects appreciate due to capital, talent, and businesses adopting the protocol. Brooke Entwistle is telling you ODL volume is warming up in 25 countries. Developers and entrepreneurs that want to build something for utility will see liquidity as a strength. This was not priced in due to the risks of the lawsuit.
Yeah, so look, so this is the only time I've ever said this is like the internet is this. Like, I've never, if you go back through all my historical statements, like one could imagine that with my experience, I could have said this like 48 times. I would just like everything new that happens.
Wait, you've never said this? You've never said it?
Yeah, no, I've never made the comparison before that I can remember.
He never said that mobile or Web 2 or any other thing was
say it now. If you disagree, tell us where you disagree.
I've never said it about any other kind of technology.
I see.
I never said it about anything else between the original internet and then the emergence of crypto. I never said it about anything else because I just want people to know, like, I don't take the comparison lightly. Like, I mean the comparison like in the very deep way. And so it is a very similar comparison. I'll just highlight maybe I'll put a point on my arguments from before, but it's just like. The most easiest way to think about it is when you get something like this that has a movement, that has this sort of collective effect, has a movement behind it, and is attracting many of the world's smartest people to work on it. Basically, the criticisms play out differently than the critics think. So the critics make this long list of all of the problems, and you alluded to there's a long list of all the problems with Ethereum today, or a long list of all the problems with Bitcoin, or whatever. And then it's like you're getting these genius engineers and entrepreneurs, right, would flood into the space, which is what's happening right now. And what happens is they look at that list of problems as a list of opportunities, right? They're like, okay, like that's the punch list. Like these are the things that I can do because if I fix these problems, it's going to be really important. It's going to really matter. I'm going to be famous, right? I can build a real business. Like, this is going to be how I'm going to make my mark in the world is I'm going to fix these problems. And so you get, I don't know, it'd be like if you had a house project or something, the house was going sideways and you get all these complaints and then like all of the world's best architects and master builders showed up, the next day to fix your house. And you've got all these incredible, amazing, whatever. It's just like all of a sudden you've got the best house in the world, right? And that this can actually happen. And in this kind of world, this can actually happen.
Trillions of dollars poured into crypto as well as some of the brightest minds and most talented entrepreneurs and developers. They are dedicated to this space and are motivated to see this world flourish.
You can mention now that you're trying to get on the ground floor of anything new?
Yeah, so I think kind of democratization of access to alternatives in a way not like SPACs where you layer in kind of asymmetric fees is interesting. So fractional ownership. And again, that's things where blockchain technology can actually accelerate.
Don Fitzpatrick thinks the new frontier is fractional ownership, the application of tokenization. This is something Liquid Marketplace is doing with the collectible market, tokenizing collectibles where all users have the ability to co-own collectibles that were once out of reach. The difference between people and ideas is only superficial. Thanks everyone, I hope you enjoyed the show. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. If you enjoy content like this, please consider joining my Patreon.